Today on Coalcracker, we're going to talk about this stuff. Good old water and water collection. So where I live here in Pennsylvania, Eastern Woodlands, there's water everywhere. Even during times when there is more of a drought, and we don't go through severe droughts by any means. They'll say it's dry and there's a drought, but that's week, 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks with no rain at the most. Ponds and lakes will go down, but the streams and creeks, they never really dry up. There's small little like wells that come out of the mountain. If you walk along the mountain long enough, you'll find wet spots that you can get fresh water, just follow the source a little bit. So I'm never really too worried about having to collect water alternative ways with solar stills or tarps, but it's still a good idea to know. So I've been playing around with it because it's been raining here the last few days. I got out, I tried some different setups, things that I think are going to be valuable. So that's what I want to show you today. Now, no, I didn't set up a trampoline, and no, that's not one of those flat things that you sleep on. That's a T60 shelter. The front of it, which is right here, is tied up in your normal lean-to configuration, but the back section is simply just toggled out to a tree. What we're actually looking for when we fly this is the front end to be slightly, and when I say slightly, I mean probably about 6 inches at the max higher than the back. Okay, so you still have somewhat of an angle to this shelter set up this way. Going back, what that's going to do is that is going to trap your water and force it towards the back of the shelter as it builds up on top. All right, so before we go on any further, if you are thinking, well, can you put this in a lean-to configuration and collect it into a container? Yes. The downfall with that is that the setup to get the corner of the tarp, because remember that's usually what's in the ground, into the container with tension on the tarp requires a lot of knot work, rope work in a sense, to make some type of tie out onto the shelter. It's a huge hassle and it just doesn't seem like it lays right. Okay, so we're gonna just use the lake water. That's part of the reason why I set up next to the lake. So it starts to rain, and what you're gonna see is gonna happen is the water starts to collect in the shelter. All right, so what's gonna happen is the water is gonna continue to collect onto the shelter. As it collects, you're going to get this sag in the shelter, and if it's set up correctly, it's going to start to feed towards the back. Now you can let this go that it keeps going and drains out by itself, which it would over time, or if you stay on top of it, you can take your container and then really easily just get this center point like this, and I can fill up my cup nice and easy and wait for the reservoir to fill back up, and in the interim, drink. And there you go, my friends. That is Coalcracker's take on water collection with a tarp. Now, the downfall with this, if you are focusing on water collection this way, is that you are giving up some of your shelter and you're exposing yourself more to the elements because you don't have one side pinned down. So a very hard driving rain into that shelter might get underneath. Heavy winds are gonna come right through, okay? So you really need to think about what is the higher priority here. Is it getting a drink, or is it staying out of the weather conditions? And that's gonna vary situation to situation, okay? But this is a good viable option. So this was Dan Walker, Coalcracker Bushcraft. Hope you enjoyed this video. As always, check us out at coalcrackerbushcraft.com. And until next video, stay hydrated and stay in the woods.